anytime really, and you can get 10% off your stencils from Essential Stencils. So I feel like you're way up there. I'm looking up high today. Today we're going to be doing a few different canvases. I've got 4 ready, but who knows what we'll get through in an hour. So I've got some ordinary, you know, the canvases you buy at the shop, at your dollar store, craft stores, things like that. So this is a big one. I'm not using this one today. I just thought I'd show you the kind of thing that I look for. The actual ones that I'm doing today, I had a couple of canvases just lying around the house. I got one from a thrift store that already had images on it. So the ones lying around the house had images on it too. So for this project, you probably don't want to use a new canvas, but you could. I'm just showing you what you can use. I just go, in Australia, that's where I'm from, if you haven't noticed the accent, we call them op shops, but you would call them a thrift store or a charity store. And just go in there and find those canvases that just have an old print on it of some kind. And what we do is remove the outside. So you just get your staple remover and remove the staples from the outside of the canvas. Most of them have staples on them. You can see the pile behind me. That's what we're working on today. So just remove the staples from the canvas itself and take that off. Now, when you're looking for canvases, these, you know, ones you're just going to remove the wood from, just avoid those really thin frames. So we're looking for the frame. That's what we're going to be using for today's project. So this frame, if you can see the inside there, it has a nice thick depth to it. And it's kind of nice and wide on here. I'll show you one that I've removed the cover from already. Hi guys, thank you so much. Oh, Kim said she's so sad, her thrift store closed. That is very sad news, Kim. So here are some that I have prepared earlier and removed the canvas from. So this one was really kind of a long one, fairly similar to that one I just showed you. I've already stained this one. Actually, I didn't stain that side. It already has the picture hook up here, so that's great. You don't need to have a picture hook as long as we're kind of going that way, or you can add one to the back when we're finished, the complete project. So I've stained around that wood frame, but see how we've got sort of some staple marks. You can see the staple marks in this frame, so you probably don't want to use that side. So you turn it onto the side where there's the least amount of staple marks. It still has some staples in the corner, but it's still got that kind of rustic look, which is fun. Now this one I haven't stained yet, so I'm going to show you some staining tips today. You can stain with a lot of different ways, and we'll talk about that as I'm staining. I'm just going to use an ordinary oil, stain and finishing oil to stain this. But this is a frame that I removed the staples, I removed the canvas from around the edges, but look at the nice beveled edge. I don't know if you can see that. Really nice edging. It's kind of got this beveled part, the frame. You can probably see it on this back corner up here, how it sort of tips up. So I thought that was a lovely shape. So just, you never know what you'll find underneath a canvas. Hey, there we go, got my own little video screen here. Because when I removed the staples from the back, the canvas was sitting across the front and I didn't even know that this was going to look so lovely. So it really is a lovely looking frame. So we'll stain that in a minute. We are going to be using some of the new stencils today and one of the oldies but goodies. And if any of you have been watching my videos or following me over on my Facebook page or my Instagram posts, my business name is I Restore Stuff, so it's at I Restore Stuff on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and Pinterest, all of the things. You might know that we've sold our house, and so we are selling things, we're downsizing. I've removed my whole big blue cabinet that held my paint in there, and I've kind of squished the paint in together because we need to downsize. So what I was saying that for was I sometimes will misplace things now because I've packed things, rearranged my whole workshop. So I'm thinking, I hope I've got everything here today. All right, so we've got our frames. Now the other thing that you'll need, and I do have a supply list at the top of the live here in the description. I've put links to all of those, but Essential Stencil also adds links in here to show you the stencils that we're using today. So here we go. Here's the first one. The stencil pack. This is Positive Sayings, and it's a 6-pack, so it's that little 6-pack there. I'll show you the positive sayings. Simply live. That's cute. Be kind. Hang on, put them down this way because I did have them in a specific order. And, oh, there we go. Be the good. Simply blessed. So there's a 6-pack of stencils here, which is very cool. And stay humble. And then there's choose joy. Aren't they cute? The cutest little sayings. So you could use them all separately. You could make a set of 6 or a set of 3 or whatever. So we're going to be using those today. The other 6-pack that I'm using is one called Home. And use your code iRestoreStuff or just one of the links that we've got in the description of the live to get your 10% off today. So let me just put that down. So this 6-pack has the following stencils in it. The word home with the beautiful wreath. You could put, I don't know, something in that wreath too, couldn't you? You could maybe something that symbolizes your family or your home. So there's that one. There's our happy place. And our nest, very cute. And whoop, I've got this one back to front. Let's stay home. And oh, have I got that one? That's around the wrong way too. Home sweet home. And this is us, our life, our story, our home. Aren't they cute? So these are, what are they, 6 by 6 inches? Great little sets. And so we're going to somehow use those on our canvas project today. And the other one, the last one that I want to show you, and I've got a link for this in the description as well, is the This Is Us. It's a 2-pack set with a big version of that one that I just showed you before. This is us, our life, our story, our home. And on the back, the other, still got my instruction manual right inside there. Happiness is homemade. So it's got those two. So we're using that on a stenciled canvas today. Okay, and the other thing that we need, so we're making farmhouse signs, if you've just joined us, out of an ordinary canvas. So here are the canvas examples. I'll just flip this so you can see that again. Just one of your ordinary canvases. This one's blank, but I just pick up the ones that you get from the op shop, the thrift stores, the charity stores that have got prints on them, because you're removing the canvas out of there, and we're going to replace that with plywood. So this is the other thing. If you know how to cut plywood with your little jigsaws or whatever you can use for that to cut them, or just get the do the hardware stores cut where you go? They do where I get mine here in Australia, but you can get them pre-cut for you to the size of the canvas. So this is that long skinny one. So what I want to do is make it the size of the back of there with some room for it to staple. So you don't want to cut to the size, let's see, you don't want to cut it right to the edge because you want some room for it to be able to staple into the wood but not show at the end, if that makes sense. So it's going to look really cool with our sign in there. So then with our plywood, we paint it white. So here's some that I've done earlier. And we could, which is what I'm going to show you now, let's get painting. Just put my canvas behind me there, getting organized. One thing I wanted to show you is how to paint, and we can create these faux beadboards, what do you call that, shiplap kind of a look for our farmhouse sign to go inside. So this is the plywood, painted it white, and I've added some lines. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is to show you how we can do that. So stay with me, guys, because you know that we have prizes always here. And share the live if you haven't done so already. I'd love you to do that. In fact, I'm just going to do that right now. Hit the little share button, hit the more, share it to my iRestoreStuff. Oops. Hang on, got to change it here. Now if I haven't told you already, my blog, which you can find lots of tutorials and tips on, is called iRestoreStuff. You'll find me at iRestoreStuff.com. And I'm just going to share this to my iRestoreStuff page over on Facebook, because my people over there, some of you already follow my page, so some of you over there love to watch these live. So if you know someone, tag them. That would be great. Alrighty. This is the canvas idea. So I've got my board. Now this is one that I haven't painted because I'm going to show you how to paint and how to make these faux lines, how I do it anyway. So let's tip you down here. Jill said she just got her Valentine's stencils yesterday. That's awesome. Great. Can't wait to see what you guys do with them. If you're in the Stencil of the Month Club, remember you can get 50% off your first month if you're not already in there using my code, I Restore Stuff. And they love to share their projects in there, which is really fun. Thank you so much, guys, for sprinkling the video around the interwebs. Someone asked if I'm going to have a craft room in my new house. Gosh, I sure hope so. That's what we're hoping for, praying for. I don't know who's going to have the bigger office space, myself or my husband. All right, so what we're going to do first, I'm just using a chalk paint. Now, chalk paint is a furniture type paint that's quite thick in nature, and so it lends well to being able to do this kind of board look because it's got quite a thick paint, and we're going to actually run something sharp in that. I'm just using an Artisan chalk paint, which is an Australian brand, so you won't find it in the USA, but there are so many different chalk brands over there that you'll easily find something. Come on, ladies, let's get to 300 tonight. Joyce says, yes, there's a bonus giveaway. Essential Stencil has just posted it up there. If we get to 300 live viewers tonight, we will do a 4th live winner. So let's get to it. Hit that little button, let people know. So I've just poured a whole bunch of chalk paint on there. This might not be how you do it. This is the way I'm doing it today. Now I don't need to go on the edges because they're going to be hidden. What I am going to do is just first of all get these edges well. Excuse me while I concentrate on here to do this, while you go ahead and just share the love. Thank you so much for doing that for us. Helps for other people to see our fun DIY videos, get fun tips. Okay, so now that I've kind of, this is probably my painting tips anyway. When you're painting your boards, do nice long brush strokes. I always hold my brush, and I'm just using a Klingon brush. I just hold it at about a 45-degree angle and just smoothly run it all the way across the board. Now I have laid, I've got a little piece of stuff on there. I've laid it on fairly thick, and there it is again. I'm gonna have to get that with my finger. And go over that again. There we go. So I just like to finish off with nice, long, smooth brush strokes, but don't overwork your paint. If you find it starts to dry, it'll start to create more brush strokes, or it'll start to pick up that layer underneath. All right, so I've got a little plastic bag just in case I wanted to paint more later. I'm only going to do one coat on that today because it's quite a thick layer. That's all I think I'll need. Just trying to keep up with comments at the same time. Okay, so before that dries, here's what I want to do. I'm just taking any sharp implement. Now this is actually a nail punch, but hey guys, it's all I could find on hand. You could use a pencil, you could use a pen, an old, anything that's sharp. You could even use another ruler, you know, the little corner tip, a plastic tip of it, and a ruler. And what I want to do, I'm just going to guess. Well, I could measure, couldn't I? Around about, see, this one I absolutely guessed with, I'm telling you. I think it's not too bad. I'm a bit of an eyeballer. Thank you guys so much for sharing. That is amazing. How many are we up to? 292 guys, only 8 more to go to reach 300, and we will get a 4th prize giveaway at the end of the live. Look, I'm just going to wing it again. So I want just 2 lines across here to make it look like, you know, it's a farmhouse board. So I've got the paint, it's wet, I've just painted, and we're making farmhouse signs. If you've just joined us on the live today, I'm Sharon from the blog I Restore Stuff. I'm not laying the ruler down, I'm just sort of holding it there. Can you see that? Does that make sense? I'm holding my thumb under it so I'm not laying it down in the wet paint. But I've just put it along beside it, which doesn't mess it up too much. You could wait till it dries a little bit more. And Yeah, what if it's wonky? Does it really matter? Hey? All right, so I'm just going to place my other one around about here. Just eyeballing it. Laying it gently so that I'm not going to make too much of a mark with the ruler, because I want to make my mark with my sharp implement that I've chosen. You can pick whatever sharp thing you can find. Pencil even, doesn't matter. So I'm just revealing that board underneath is all one. Whoops, I went off there. No boards, a shiplap. If it was real shiplap, who knows, it probably could be a little bit wonky. Let me see if I can fix that. See, if you've just messed up and the paint isn't quite dry, you can always fix it up a little. So I'm just going to touch that up there. Oh, I think it worked, guys. And you can hardly tell that I messed up. Okay, then I'll clean those things afterwards. I'll hold this up a little closer so you can kind of see how it works. So that paint now is going to be drying, and I've created sort of a shiplap look for my canvas board repurposing project. Okay, so that's how you do that. So here's one that I've done earlier, and I'll use this for creating my This Is Us sign. First I want to show you how I stain. Okay, so what I've shown you before, if you've just joined us, we are turning just ordinary canvases, removing the canvas from the frame. Find a really nice quality frame that's got some depth to it. Removing the canvas, and then we're staining it. So for today's staining, I'm going to use just a stain and finishing oil, but there are a few ways. Let's talk about how do you stain? Let me know. Sometimes I stain using paint. My plywood, someone asked how thick it is. I think I put that in the description of the live up the top there. It's about 2 or 3 millimeters, so really quite thin. I'll hold it up so you can see how thin that is. See how thin that is? Very thin, because all you're doing is stapling it to the back of your board when we're finished. Okay, so I mentioned before I found this really nice frame. Didn't even know that this nice beveled edge was in there underneath. I'm going to have to do a screwdriver opening today because I can't find my little can opener thingy. I've packed away some of the things in my workshop, and I've put things in places where now I don't know where they are. I found my painter's tape the other day and I went, I need to leave that out for Essential Stencil. My lives, I'm always forgetting my painter's tape, if you know that. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining. Yes, we are over 300 viewers, so you guys, you did it. We reached 300, so Essential Stencil is going to be picking a 4th winner tonight for the live at the end of our live. So keep watching, stay tuned, it could be you. And they have some fun prizes, of course. Essential Stencil products are just so beautiful. All right, guys, got my gloves on because this stain and finishing oil I'm going to use is a Fusion product, Fusion Mineral Paint made by Homestead House. I'm just going to use a cloth to apply it to my wood. This is the colour Ebony, so you could use a chocolate brown colour. But like I said before, what are some of the ways that you guys, I don't know if anyone commented that. Yeah, some of the smells on the stains can get a bit potent. So this one's not too bad. It's an oil-based stain. But you can use just your water-based craft paints and then seal them with a poly sealer. So I just put a bit on the cloth. This is Ebony, which is their black stain. So yeah, I don't think that's kind of nice. I like that. You apply it with some cloth and then rub off any excess. You can still see the grain of the wood through it. But if you're using just water-based paint, which I've done that before on some of my lives here when I've done stains, or over on my Facebook page, you might see some of my staining videos. What I do is I water down the paint about 3 parts water to 1 part paint, or maybe even more than that, to make it look like a wash. And you can actually use that for stains, or, yeah, Tracy says you can get water-based stains from Minwax. But I just sometimes water down my ordinary furniture paint. You could use a brush to get in those nooks and crannies. little crevices. Get some more on my... So then while this is drying, we'll do our stenciling on the plywood pieces that I've cut out. So these are going to be farmhouse signs. So Joyce asked, did I put 2 coats of stain on my projects? No, I just did 1 coat of stain, and this is just 1 coat here. You can see that I've done so far. And if you're watering down your paint like I suggested, then you can always, you would put a sealer on top of it. Now, if you thought that the stain, so say I'm doing this black now and I thought, oh, I need it a bit stronger, then just add another coat. So that's why you would possibly add another coat, or for extra protection, I suppose, if it's got a sealer. This is a sealer and a stain all in one. It's a bit tricky to get into those little corners there. Yep, Janet says she uses a terry cloth covered sponge, which is a great idea. As long as it's a lint-free cloth, excuse me, yeah, you can stain it like that. All right, so let's see what we haven't done here. So you can do it any colour, really. You could even just leave it that clear colour. That would work as well. There we go. Mayra says, I was just staining a board, that's why she was a little bit late. There you go. How did you stain yours? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so there we go. And there's the, whoops, we haven't finished. Yeah, we haven't finished. We haven't done the outside. I'm trying to do this so you can see, but then that means that I can't see. I've got to come around the other side of the camera. Last little bit right here. We're just staining the frame. So this is from inside a canvas that you would just pick up from a thrift store. I've removed the canvas. We've got the frame that we can use for a farmhouse sign. You could just use it for a frame, you know, you could just sit that frame like that on your shelf or a mantle with nothing in it, you know, you don't have to have it for a sign, you could just use it, you know how people just have those signs just sitting on the mantle. So that's that part. So now I've finished with the messy thing, I can remove my gloves and and then I can, I think it was this wood. I've got all that powder that's inside the gloves. This is the dry board, okay. So this is the one that fits in here. So if you, excuse me, if you missed that before, you watched the replay, but I showed you how you can create these fake lines in the chalk paint just by using a sharp implement. So this is a black stain. I'm going to set this aside to dry. What's with the little frog in my throat? Let me get a drink of water. Yeah, that one was a really thick frame. Someone just mentioned those are really thick frames. But this one here is quite thin and it's actually not too bad, but I like the colour of this one too. I did this with a brown stain and I honestly can't remember if I did that with a water-based paint or something else. Okay, so here's the board that I've prepared, and this is the This Is Us sign that I want to put in the centre of that to show you how to create one of the signs. This is from the pack This Is Us, which also has on the other side, Happiness is Homemade. So we're just going to place that in the centre there. Now, I see a little problem. I've got it in the centre, and I didn't think this through. But see how those words at the bottom look like they're running through the line that I've created? So I just might have to, instead of centering it exactly, I might have to just drop it down below that line a bit. So you may want to think about that when you're doing your stenciling. I don't know, what do you think? Up high, maybe you can't see. Up above the line, like this, that kind of looks, maybe that's better. Or do I drop it below the line like this? I always create for myself these problems because sometimes I don't plan things out as well. Or we could just run it straight through the line like that. Such a dilemma, guys. I think I will go above the line, okay? Someone says go underneath. I'm watching now for your comments. Center the words below the line. Oh, I kind of am like of two minds. Get my black paint. Find my essential stencil brush. Let's get this one. So the brushes, 10% off for those as well. If you use my code I Restore Stuff, and the link for those is actually also in the description of the live. Okay, that's one thing that I did not get. Was offloading paper or cardboard. Let me see if I can find some over here. Oh, I found a piece of paper, that will do. Because when we're stenciling, we want to offload. So I'm going to dip some paint in here. So I'm just using, again, some chalk paint. You can use any water-based acrylic paint. This is an Australian brand of chalk paint called Artisan. All right, someone says center the first line and then drop the second line below. So you're thinking like that. Below. Everyone's saying below. Let's try below then. Yep, everyone's saying do one line at a time. Oh, Patsy, that's a great idea. Do one line at a time. You know what? Let's see. I could do this here and then, yes, I could do this up here and then drop that other line below the line. Let's go with that idea. And I had my painter's tape out here, guys. What did I do? I did. Here it is. I think that'll work. Let me see if I can see your comments. See if anyone's agreeing with me or what. You guys are great help, you know. Do the big words at just below the top line. There'll be room if you raise them to get both in the center. You think? I kind of don't want the whole thing in that center of that line because then there'll be all this space here. So I think I'll just keep the top of this word, these words up here. Looks a little crooked, but I think it's my line that's actually crooked. And then I'll shift the little words below. Yep, just do one line at a time. See, guys, I think that's the right answer. All right, got my paper here. I'm going to offload my black paint. And we're ready to go. So I'm just doing this top part. It's not too close, so I won't need to tape that off. I'll just remind myself I'm going to put that below the line. Okay, so here we go with our paint, and I'm just doing a swirling motion. And I don't get the paint underneath the stencil because I've offloaded all that paint onto the paper. Because you want a fairly dry brush when you're doing a swirly method. And if you've seen any of my other lives, I do explain how you can do stenciling so many different ways. You just got to find the best way that the one that's most easy for you. Yes, the words of this stencil say, "This is us." Then underneath it's got our life, our story, our home. I think it's cute. Actually started watching, well, we're probably up to season 2 on This Is Us, the Netflix series. No, it's not on Netflix. Where is it on? In Australia, it's probably on something different to the USA anyway, but loving that show. So this just reminded me of that. But since we're moving into a new home someday, we are selling this one. We're not sure exactly where we're going to be yet. I just love the idea of making some new farmhouse signs for our house. So That will be fun. I'll have a few to choose from. I've got a few canvases here to show you today, so this is one of the signs. And then, okay, so I've done that first part. I just want to lift that, just give you a little peek. So this is us, there's the first part, and then we're going to move this a bit lower so that those smaller words are down below that line. And I think I drew my line crooked, so that kind of messes up the look of my stencil, but I'll move it down further. Hopefully the further away from the line it is, the less you'll be able to tell that my line is crooked when I drew it. Okay, and then I'm going to go down on my little letters here. Swirly, swirly, swirl. Someone mentioned it's a pretty font. It is, isn't it? A script font. I like that the way that they combine the script font with then a straight font down under here. Gives it a nice aesthetic for the sign. Hi Brenda, that's okay that you're a little late. There might be other people just joining you as well, so I'll just repeat myself every now and then. So for those who are joining or those who haven't been here before, if it's your first time watching one of our lives, let us know. If it's your first time, if you've ordered essential stencils for the first time, let us know that too. We always have some great info, great tips here on the lives. Today I am creating some farmhouse signs out of old canvases that you might find at a thrift store. And what we do is we just remove the canvas, and then you've got a beautiful wood frame to work with. Then add some plywood. And this is the plywood that I've used here. I will wash my stencil later. But there we go, look at that. So I think that will be okay. And then we stained our frame. So that's our first one. I'll let that dry and then I'll piece them all together at the end. Let me start working on the next one. So the next sign, let's work on this one here because this is an odd shape. Now I can't remember what I was going to do with this one. I think it was the sayings. So we've got these sayings and we've got the home sign to go. All right, so hang with me because we've got prizes at the end, guys. Out of this 6-pack here, I showed you this at the beginning, we've got a positive sayings 6-pack. And I thought this sign, now this canvas frame came with a little hook down on this one narrow end. So it works well if I do it like this. So I've got to make sure that my hook is the correct way up when I do my sign, or at least when I nail it in there. And I'm just going to use a staple gun at the end to do that. So I think, are these the ones I did? Live simply. I was going to do it this way. Be kind and be the good. Okay, so those are 3 of the positive sayings that we're going to create into a farmhouse, vertical farmhouse sign going this way. So you can find canvases of all sorts of shapes and sizes. I'm just going to line this up here where I think, and then we'll put some painter's tape down on it. What I want to do first is pop my little plywood that I've painted with some white paint on behind, so I can make sure that all those are going to be fairly in the center, and you know, it's going to make it work if I do it like this. So I might just move this guy up a little bit. This one we want in the center to stay there. And this one we might move just down a little bit. See how I'm just kind of placing them a little bit more centered to the actual frame vertically, if that makes sense. I think we've got it about right. Now I'll remove my frame. So this is just a canvas. This one you might have noticed it's a little bit wobbly, and probably in the way that they've just stapled it together quite roughly. So when I removed the canvas, you can see the staples all along here from removing the canvas. And so I used the other side to stain, and that's going to be our side that will be at the front of our piece. Just leave that there, and very carefully before they run away, and my boards may not be accurately straight either, so. But I love these sayings though. Live simply, be kind, and be the good. And you can see the links for all of those, the stencils that we're using on the description of the live, and Essential Stencil has also popped them in the comments there, the top comment. Okay, so making sure also that when I am taping, I might tape where that S comes close, fairly close to the edge here. You want to put your painter's tape here so you don't get paint on the white also. And let's see if I need to do that probably down here as well, where the D just finishes. My paint is well and truly dry on this board too, so only use it if it's been dried. Okay, so let's see, is that the right way up for you guys? I'm going to, again, we're doing our farmhouse sign, just going to do black on white. It's a classic look. Whoops, hope I didn't have too much on my brush then. I sometimes freak myself out. I think, oh, have I got too much on? And therefore it's going to bleed under the stencil. There's nothing worse than trying to fix the bleed through after the fact. So much easier to do 2 really thin coats than it is to try and correct the bleed through. There are ways of correcting it, but you know, you can either go with your white paint around and neaten up, tidy up those edges, or sand it a little bit off where you've accidentally gone over too much. Yeah, there's so many frames with just, you know, printed images, you know, not necessarily paintings, but just printed images at your Goodwill stores, charity stores. So you can just pick those up. Just look for really good quality frames behind them though. You just flip them over, have a look at the frame, make sure it's not MDF or one of those materials that's like, you know what MDF is? I think it stands for medium density fiberboard or something. I don't know. It's made up of little, it's squashed wood all together. So I look for wood frames. So make sure some of them, the cheaper made frames, are actually just like an MDF product, which is not of great quality, and it doesn't stain well. So I find the ones that stain well are the frames that are... Thank you so much, Abby. I love it that you've shared. Guys, we're getting really good numbers tonight, and there's now, because we reached over 300, there's going to be a 4th prize at the end, so stay tuned, it might be you. Trying to catch up with comments. First time watcher, who was that? Patricia Sue, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you get something out of our lives, learn some stenciling tips. There are so many video lives. We go live 5 times a week, did you know that, here at Essential Stencil? So if you go to the video section, go to the Facebook page, look up the video section, and you'll see all of our lives there, all of the tutorials, plus all the other videos that they've made into shorter versions of our lives, so you can get the quick version. But the great thing about watching any of the past lives is you can kind of skip to the part that you need to watch. You know, if you're looking for a certain technique and you go, I know she did this at the end of her life, just skip to the end. Real easy, my friends. Oh, Bronwyn, you're lovely. Thank you. These are some of I'm just trying to read the comments, guys. One of my favourite stencils. That's awesome. Yeah, 10% off using I Restore Stuff code at the checkout on the Essential Stencil page. Or just use any of the links and it'll automatically add that 10% off for you. Quick and easy, fun idea. Now this one is Simply Blessed, and I'm not sure if you can see that there, but it's got these little laurels or leaves either side of it. And you could opt to change those out to a different colour, but just for time's sake, I'm going to just continue with the black and paint them on there. Can't wait to see all these little farmhouse signs coming all together at the end of our live. So nice little swirly motion. Sometimes I pounce and sort of dig it in and then swish it around. So you're kind of you're not brushing across the stencil lines so that it goes under. You're just going, pouncing and wriggling the brush. Let's say pounce and wriggle. Yes, welcome to all the new Essential Stencil watchers today. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you missed it, I'm Sharon and I'm from the blog I Restore Stuff. I'm from Australia, where it's really quite hot. We're having summer here down under. Actually, you can probably hear people mowing their lawns. That's what I can hear. Often people can hear a lot of the birds going on. Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, you can follow me over on my Facebook page or my blog or Instagram. All of the things at I Restore Stuff. All the links are up there in the top. Let's see. Yes, someone else loves the black and white too. Okay, we're almost finished this whole sign. And then we can piece it all together. So, untaping that. And I can just reuse this tape for my other sign. Hey, how about that? Because the last one we want to do, I'll wash those in a minute. Got another frame here ready. Is the home 6-pack. Okay, so this was the positive sayings 6-pack, and there's the home 6-pack. So look at that. That is going to look so cute behind our frame, won't it? There's a little peek. Now don't forget, I've got to remember to get that that hook the right way up, because right then I didn't put it on the right way. So just going to pop that here for a second, and I'll staple that in a minute once I've finished our bunch of sayings. We're only going to, not sayings, but little words. I'm going to use the home. You could use home, our happy place. So again, I'm going to use these vertically. Home and our happy place. Or the other thing I could have put is home, our nest, like that, straight up and down. So let's get that going. I think today I'm going to use home, our happy place. So once again, just lining up those in the center of the board. I'm going to grab my pre-stained frames right here, and I think these ones are both exactly the same size. So I'll just go with this one, and I'll do the other one another day. So we've got 3 frames on the go. So I'm just popping it down, making sure that's going to be in the right place to center our words. I think they're pretty good where they are. If you know of someone else who might appreciate watching our lives, you can always hit that little share button or tag them in a video. All right. My tape, it's all sitting down here. There we go. Oops. It's bumped it crooked. Yeah, these frames, someone said these frames make endless projects. Totally. And see how we can group some of these stencils together to create little framed signs like this. I'm really looking forward to decorating my new house. Oops, just dropped our frame there. Let's see. I'll do this one sideways. So. I'm so glad you're learning a lot. Yay. Yeah, I do like the black and white. It is very classy, and you can play a lot with the colour. I have noticed sometimes it's tricky to use several colours on a stencil project, only because you've got to tape off the parts where you don't want the previous colour to be showing, you know, and then you have to move the tape when you want to do the next part, and tape around. There's a lot of taping involved when you're doing different colours. Although some of the ambassadors have shown great projects using lots of colours, and I can't remember who it was, might have been Melissa, showed how to do it with coloured markers one time, stenciling with coloured markers. So there's that. So many different fun things you can use it for. So as you know, on the side here I've got my offloading section. I'm just offloading my brush. Oh, Gloria said we got a new house 7 months ago after 39 years. Wow, fun decorating, yeah. So we've been here 18 and a half, nearly 19 years, I think. It's a lot of stuff that you can store up and gather and collect after 19 years. So we've been doing a major overhaul because we're downsizing to a much smaller place. Going through all our junk and our stuff, asking the kids, do you need this? We don't want it. Of course they don't want our junk. Okay, there's one. So you can see our happy place. Woohoo! One and done. I've got a pile of washing up to do over here, aren't I? Yes, we're still over 300. I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for sharing and watching with us today. Hope you get stuck into lots of DIY projects. Is it still cold where you are? Anyone having snow days where you've got to stay in anyway, so you might as well stencil something, right? As for me, I have no idea about snow days because we don't get snow here at all in Queensland, where I live. Okay, so I'm just kind of stenciling this over. If you've just jumped in, I saw a couple of people say that they've just joined us. They're a bit late, and that's okay. You can always catch the replay, but I've just been creating farmhouse signs simply from getting old canvases from thrift stores, removing the canvas, and you've got these lovely wood frames that you can stain or paint however you like. And with the wood frames, I'm making some farmhouse signs, so I love how this works. Also with the plywood, obviously, we need some, and I've just used a really thin plywood. What is it, like 2 or 3 millimeters? I think I typed a supply list up on the description of the live here. Roxanne says it's sunny and cool in California. She's picking oranges. Wow, sounds lovely. Yeah, our weather in Queensland's probably very similar to California, Southern California anyway. Never snows and the winters are quite mild. We always joke about getting the winter clothes down for the 1 month that you need them, or the 3 days that you might need them. Oh, Kim, I am so happy for you, my friend. Cleared out the large room, and you have a craft area in the basement, and set up your new craft area. That is amazing. I love it. Oops, sorry. Oh, Mindy, that's great. She says, I really love the idea of using the frame of old canvases. You've got so many paintings that you've done multiple of because you teach painting classes. Exactly. So then you could change them up and just use them for something else if you didn't need them anymore, couldn't you? There's people on here wishing for snow, and then there's probably people who are snowed in and don't want any more snow, am I right? It's always funny, we're always a bit unhappy with wherever we're at. So see this wreath here, we've got the little round wreath on the word home. You could do a few things with that. You could paint that green just to add a pop of colour, or pop something in it. I suggested earlier, maybe you've got something in your family that really symbolises you guys, or symbolises, you could even put the family letter of your family name in there or something like that. I don't know, just a thought. Pop a little kind of symbol of your home in there, or just leave it plain. Almost finished, guys, and then we get to piece these all together, and you get to see our farmhouse signs from old canvases coming into being. So probably the trickiest thing to this whole project would maybe be to cut up your plywood. So if you know someone who can cut it up for you, or if you have something that you can cut it with, then you can go ahead and do that. But that's probably, you know, it's just going on my wall, so I really don't mind. Okay, here's the part where we're putting all the fun things together. Let me recap just a little bit. We're just using ordinary canvases from your craft shop or from wherever, and then the wood frames that are in them, we remove the canvas, and you're using the wood frames that are in the canvases. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Now I have my staple gun, my handy trusty staple gun here, and all we have to do then is to flip the canvas you pick the best side. So I've stained that side. This is obviously the side we're going to put this on. Now this one doesn't have picture hooks at the moment, so I don't have to try and choose an end, so it doesn't matter which way I go up. Placing that down kind of in the center of my frame, making sure I've got it all even. And I'll secure it a lot better later. You could put a strip of glue around the outside too, that might be helpful. But I'm just going to pop the gun in. Probably could be really loud. And I'll make it a little bit more secure later with more staples. I'm just popping one in each corner and then again in the center, just so I can show you. How is that? Look at that. Is that awesome or what? I'm trying to get it centered in the right place. All right, next one. So we did that one today. We got a bunch of projects done. 3 signs, in fact, just all out of old canvases. Here's the next one. So now I have to make sure I've got this around the wrong way because we've got a little hooky here. So some of your canvases might already come with one of those picture hooks at the end. Just make sure you've got that up the correct way so that when you place your sign down, it's going to be right way up. Okay, nothing worse than getting a sign. Oh no, it's going to cover it up anyway. I'm going to have to re-put a picture hook on there, guys. So it doesn't even matter. Okay. Hopefully I've got enough room. I think I cut my board out just slightly a little bit too thin. Let's see how we go. Oh, that's really loud in my ears. So sorry if it's really loud in yours. Your dog hates it when you use the staple gun, Wendy, I'm sure. Must freak him out. Our cat hates it when I get the vacuum cleaner out. Actually, it's a good way to deter her from an area of the house. I discovered that. I just have to put the vacuum cleaner in that area and she steers clear of it. Does not like big loud noises. Okay, this one's not gone through properly, so I'll have to get my hammer out and fix that later. So I'll make that more secure. All right, there's the second one. Look at that. So if you missed the beginning of the live, I also showed you how to, get this next bit, how to stain wood. So you can go back and watch the replay. Actually, if you comment the word replay, don't forget, after the live's finished, there's still another 24 hours and we pick in even another winner, sorry. An even bigger number. No, we pick 5 winners then. So the 5th winner will be at the replay. So here you go, guys. This is stained with a black stain, so you can still see the grain of the wood. So I showed you how I did that. And I also showed you on this board, see how we've got that look like shiplap along there? I showed you how to create these lines just using a sharp implement while the paint's wet. So go back and check that out if you missed that after the replay, after the live's finished. All right. Turning this one over. Now this one I'll put the picture hooks on all later. You just have to add those little alligator clips and then, whoops. Once I've finished this one, Essential Stencil is going to pop some winners up. And remember, we actually reached over 300 viewers today on the live, which means we get a bonus winner today. So there's going to be 4 winners. So they will be busy picking winners from the comments that you've left today. And there we go. There's our next one. Isn't that cute? So this is us. Let me just pop this up a little bit so I can just see if I can hold these back for you. Hey, it's me. We spend so much time down there. It's lovely to see your faces. Well, I can't see yours, but hey, you get to see mine. See who's behind here. So yeah, the plywood is just painted at the back there. So I've got some paint on the table, which then came onto my frame right here. So I'll just sand that off later and touch that up. But there's one, okay, so while Essential Stencil is picking their winners for today, remember we get 4 winners today, and there's the second one. So we've got Live Simply, Be Kind, and Be the Good. I probably could have placed those a little bit closer together now that I'm looking at the distant part. Like I could have dropped that one down and picked this one up a little bit. that's all a bit of learning and placement and all of that kind of thing. And the third one is this, home, our happy place. Now, the 3 different sets of stencils are all listed in the description of the live or here in the comments that Essential Stencil has put them in. And you just have to click on those links and it'll take you straight there. It'll give you the 10% off using my code IRestoreStuff at the checkout. So that'll add that in for you. But here are the 3 ones that we have done today. And I'm just waiting to see if I can see those